Hello everyone, welcome to Lobo and today we have another Revoltech KO review! And we have the Revoltech Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist.
It's a very old Revoltech figure that became very expensive with time, the same thing with
Alphonse Elric that are already reviewed in this channel.
If you haven't checked that review out, go check it out. It is in a playlist somewhere in the description below, or you can find it probably in the end screen. And first of all, let's look at first impressions.
Follow me, I'll cover you.
And the first impressions are not bad at all. Now, it is definitely not a Figma figure. Most of the problems that I immediately notice are from being a Revoltech and a very old Revoltech, because Revoltech figures look amazing in some action poses, but if you try to pose them normally, they don't look that good because of the big bulky joints that they have, and especially old ones. Now this one has mostly a solid build except for this little peg here that is a little bit loose. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to put him a little bit better, but it doesn't fit that well inside there. It's still okay, but definitely will pop off if you are not careful. But overall, I still like his design. It's again a very old figure and it's not perfect. There are two new figures coming out for Alphonse Elric and Roy Mustang, and I do think those will be definitely better than these old Revoltech ones, but still I definitely wanted this. And for the most part, I don't see any paint problems. And again, it feels solid except for this little part that pops off a little. First impressions is good, and it does stand on his own if you pose him right. So now let's take a look at what it brings. First of all, we have a stand, and this stand is actually not the one that it should bring. This is a newer Revoltech stand version, and I actually prefer that they put this one instead of the old ones. If you want to take a look at the old ones, check my Vasta Stampede and Nicholas D. Wolfhood reviews, because those have the old stands, because those are original ones. But I'm glad that the KO, instead of those old style stands, brought one of these new stands, even though this one is a little bit dirty and looks almost used. It's okay. Then we have an effect part for the feet for some action poses. It's well done. We do have an effect part for the transmutation, and this is for you to put in the ground with the hands and gives you a nice transmutation pose. For the most part, it is well done. Then we have two effect parts for transmutation of the hands, and these are to use with the hands. Now I do think that original one only brought one, but this brings two. It's okay. Also, we do have two Revoltech joints, white ones, that I think were supposed to be for that old stand that I was talking about, but because we don't have that old stand, well, we get two Revoltech joints that are useless. Then we get his metallic arm, and this one has a open hand on it. This little part here comes off, so you can connect his sword style transmutated automail, and we also can replace that hand for a fist hand. All of are well painted and look very good, very weathered, so well done there. Besides the fist hands that he brings, we do have two transmutation hands, and both of them have holes for the little accessory part of the transmutation circle, and again, they're well painted, good enough. And then we have a pose hand for his left hand. Again, well done, well molded and well painted. We then have this rag of his coat, and that's for the metallic arm, to have the idea that he's ripping his sleeve off to reveal the automail. It is a very simple accessory, but it works well for some action poses. The faces, we have the first face that he brings with, and it looks pretty good. I think very close to the original one. I don't see any major defects on it. We have a smirking face and also the same. The smirking face does look good. For the most part, there's something weird about the reflection painting on the eyes, but overall I don't see many major issues. Then we have what I can describe as a greeting, angry face maybe. Again, it looks okay. Then we have what I can call, it's a, I don't know, angry action determined face. Again, looks okay. A small paint bleeding there in the eye, but barely noticeable. And finally we have his short fuse angry face when people call him short.
What? You mean it's the little guy there?
Who's little? Come here and say that to my face, I dare you!
And that's okay. I think this face is the one that is a little bit different from the original one. Just, I don't think the paint job is as great in the original one. I may be wrong, but it's still an okay face and definitely will give you some nice poses. Now, changing the faces is a little bit weird on this figure. You have to pull the hair back with a Revoltech joint, slide the faceplate off, and then put the new face in and slide the hair back. Now this system is not that good. I don't like it. I much rather have the Figma system because I do think this one creates more gaps because of that Revoltech joint. It's not bad, but definitely could be better. But again, this is based on a very old figure. Well, very simple really. We have there a hole and this is just a peg. You can just peg it and then adjust the position of the cloth in the way that you want. Again, not the best system, but it will do the job. And now let's try and put the sword in. And to put the sword in, first you need to remove this little plate from the arm, and it is kind of well pegged there. I've almost unpegged the top part, not the bottom part. Okay, after some tries I managed to disconnect the little normal parts, and now just peg it into the arm, and that was easy to put in, not as easy to put out. And now let's put it back in, and oh my god. Now one thing I also notice is you have some gapping because of those big joints, and there you go. That's the coat part that I told you is a little bit loose. Now you need to find ways to hit well those joints, but again, in Revoltech figures it's not that easy, and it's not just a problem with KOs. Vash the Stampede and Nicholas D. Wolfwood are original ones, and they have the same problem.
And now comes the interesting part. Let your fingers get in there and have a good old rub-a-dub.
Okay, so let's look at the articulation. I already showed you that this error part is in a Revoltech joint, but that's of course not to be an articulation, but just to be a system to replace the head. But you do have a Revoltech joint on the hair that allows you to go up, down, rotate, and adjust the hair part as you want. We have a Revoltech joint in his head and a Revoltech joint on the neck, and again this is one of those that you need to work really hard to hide. Does give you good range of motion, but again it's too exposed. For the shoulder we do have a Revoltech joint, and this Revoltech joint does allow us good articulation, but it is very exposed. Definitely not the best system, especially compared to Figma's ball joint to ball hinge, but okay, it works. Doesn't work perfectly. This is just a floating piece, and then we have just a peg to the floating piece itself. Again, works, but it's not the best system. Then we have a huge Revoltech joint for his elbow. There you go. gives us the same articulation as basically Figma does. And then we have a small Revoltech joint on the head. In this side it can barely move, and in this one it does give you some articulation. Then we have a huge Revoltech joint on the waist, and again is one of those more exposed ones. There you go, you can see it inside there, but it is a blue one, gives us a good crunch, and the neck is falling off and the coat is falling off. Now it gives us a rotation. It's an okay joint. On the back we have the famous, infamous Revoltech joints for the coat that keep falling off, and we have a peg for the stand. Now we can adjust this to give us some good pose, but again these are the ones that are loose and keep falling off, but it's not too bad. We have no articulation here, but we have some weird articulation on the legs. We do have two Revoltech joints on the legs that can give us some good kick forward, good kick back. We can rotate in the peg itself, and we can adjust the articulation so we can get instead a spread. It's not the best system, but it still works very well to give us some solid articulation. Here we only have a hinge on the knee, very simplistic system. There is nothing here above the pants, just a Revoltech joint on the foot. Does give us a nice pivot, front, back, and no toe bend. So the articulation is decent but not amazing, even though it does give us some nice posing. But again, it's a weird system from old Revoltech figures.
Yeah, boy.
Revoltech, Fullmetal Alchemist, Alphonse Elric. Revoltech Trigon, Nicholas D. Wofood. Figma, My Hero Academia, Bakugo. Sentinel, Devil May Cry 5, Dante. Figma, ReZero, Ram.
Now the original Revoltech was already not perfect, and the KO does have some extra problems, but still for a long time it was the only option in town, and the original one goes by a ridiculous price, so I do give my low budget otaku seal of approval to this KO, even though I think now there will be better options like the Aniplex Edward Elric that I already talked about, and then in my opinion looks a lot better than this. Hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like.
See you next time.
Do it! Just